I know you're excited to review today's movie.
Yeah, we Faizel, funny enough, had never seen Predator before,
Nope.
which I just assume everyone's seen it at least 100 times like me, but
Do you know what? I've seen Prey, the one that came out recently, but I have not seen Predator 1. I've not seen Predator 2. I haven't seen Alien versus Predator. Those are Alien versus Predator 2, right? Never seen
yeah.
any of those. So
Well, we
I
got
feel
a
like
bunch
I
of new
need to
movies on your
like
list.
fix that.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen Predator so many times. It's one of my favorite movies, but I watched this as an excuse to watch it again. I was like, well, we're going to be discussing it, so I should watch it again. I probably watch it like every few months, um,
You gotta have
since I
one of
was
those
like
movies. It's
12.
like a comfort movie, right?
Yeah, it's like a comfort movie. I remember the first time it was like when I was very little, probably like 8 or something. It was on TV, and I remember it was like on a Sunday, and I was looking forward to watching it. I was going to watch it with my dad, and at the last minute, he's like, "You know what? I'm thinking it's probably too violent, so I'm not going to let you watch it." So for years, not years, but I was probably a teenager before I
Because you
finally
couldn't
saw it.
watch movies on demand when we were growing
Yeah,
up. Like, you had to
yeah.
wait till they were on TV or in the theater. Like,
Yeah, so yeah, well, it wasn't just as easy as doing it behind his back. I had to wait until I was old enough to rent the video, and
yeah.
so even part of me now is like, hey, guess what, Dad? I'm gonna watch Predator, and you're not gonna stop me.
I've seen it a bunch of times, and I've made my own violent movies.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm kind of glad you got to watch it, and yeah, I kind of want to just discuss it because it is. I don't know if I'd say it's unique, but it did come from a period of time in the '80s where I think we touched on this in the last episode where it was the action movies were about big, huge, tough guys acting super macho,
Oh man,
and this movie is kind of the epitome of that.
Carl Weathers and Schwarzenegger's arms in this movie take up so much room in the frame. Like, they are massive human beings. But
Yeah,
like, who played, man? But like, it's wild. In one scene, they have Arnie standing next to the Predator, and like, I'm not sure if it was like a tall guy or if they had the guy on stilts or if it was just like a camera thing. But like, Arnie looks small next to the Predator, which is no small feat.
yeah, they had this really, really tall guy in the suit. He was just like
How
7
tall
foot
is that
something.
guy when he makes like Arnie look like a short guy?
Yeah, he was just one of those guys. It might have even been, I could be wrong, but it might have been the same guy in the alien costume or what, something like that. But yeah, there's this guy. You can look him up online, and he's just like 7'6" or some
Jeez.
crazy thing. Originally, it was supposed to be Jean-Claude Van Damme as the Predator. There's actually footage of him, like they shot some
Really?
of him in it. Of course, he's not a very tall guy, and
No.
it looked pretty stupid. And they correctly were like, "Okay, this isn't working," and then they recast some enormous guy in the costume. But yeah, the Predator, not only was he big, but just his movements, the way he moved, was very cool.
Where decides. Do you think the scenes where he's invisible and he's cloaked up? I was watching that through and I was just like, do you think that was like a guy in a green screen suit and then they painted over that? Like, how do you think they got that effect?
I don't know how they did that. It was a different era with more limited special effects, so I'm not sure how they did some of it, but it kind of looked good, even as his heat vision. It
Yeah.
wasn't up to like today's standards, but I kind of prefer it in a way. Like it was just kind of simple effects, and yeah, his like wavy invisible mirage look. I'm not sure how they did it, but it looked cool.
I feel like you could replicate it, at least today, technology wise. You could replicate it. It looked really good even still, but like you could do it in a green screen suit, I think I would
Yeah,
imagine. And
there's probably simpler ways to do it
I
now,
was
but
watching it through and I was just like, I wonder how they would have done this in the 80s. Can you imagine? That would have been like days of shooting just to get it there.
yeah, I'm sure they put a lot of work into it, and it was, I would say, revolutionary, but like just that look of the predator, just that little tick 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 sound he makes, and just the
Yep.
invisible way he looks and his heat vision,
His
that still
face,
it influences a lot of things these days. And yeah, so does the the way his face looks, like
it
that
looks
influences a
very
lot of
good.
alien makeup.
It
Yeah,
doesn't
that
look
looks
like a
very good.
mask or a costume or anything at all. It looks like a big space bug.
Yeah, they really did a good job on that. And the story itself like was fairly simple. there's a big action scene near the beginning, and then it's just the alien, the predator picking off the guys one by one. They didn't need, kind of as the series goes, they start adding like more and more elements and making it more and more complex. And I think it almost like takes away for it. I miss it when it was just a simple story of like a group of
Alien
guys in
shows
the
up.
jungle getting picked off.
I have to say, Bill Duke, man. I've seen him in so many movies. He is the least likely like quote unquote actor looking guy. But he always does his job so well. He's the guy who was like with the giant spinning rail gun and he was just like firing it. He always does such an amazing job when he's on screen.
Yeah, and I kind of like because they have that thing in there. They never really got into the guy's like backstory, which I like because you don't need it. You just
No,
here's
no, no.
them doing stuff, but they kind of touched him and Jesse the Body Ventura. They were like very good friends. There's even I've read some online things where people are assuming they had some sort of like gay relationship, and that's why they had their thing. Which I think that's I mean maybe, but I think that's just to read too much into it. I think they were just good friends, and it kind of shows that as tough as these guys are, they do have a soft side, right? And his like best friend basically gets killed, and he's
Yeah, and he's
noticeably
like
upset
all
about it.
fucked up about it.
Yeah, which is like it just shows that as macho as they are, they're not like completely one note characters that have no like humanity to them. It's like, you know, they do. He even says he's like, Schwarzenegger's like he was a good soldier. Bill Duke says like, yeah, he was my friend. It's kind of like they just have that soft moment, which just kind of adds to the movie.
It also shows them scared, which so I thought this was interesting when I watched it was like it shows these big tough guys and they're like charging into the jungle to rescue these guys and take out the drug dealers. I can't remember. I was gonna look this up if it was like Iran Contra. I was trying to figure out what period that the kill the drug dealers was happening in. But anyways, they're going in and they're like super confident of themselves. They're super like, we don't care. We're just gonna mow everything down. And then after like three or four encounters with the predator, they're like terrified and they're like moving slower and they're like keeping their eyes out open. And it was a very interesting shift seeing that and seeing like these big giant like can't do nothing guys like feeling like scared and trapped and like almost getting into fights with each other just because of how much they're arguing.
Yeah, I think it's like they've dealt with humans before. They've been in gun battles and they're very good at what they do and they're confident, but now they're dealing with something that they've never dealt with before and they don't even know what it is. But they're smart enough to quickly pick up on it that it's like, okay, he's using the trees and it's not human. And even guys like Billy, who are like, the toughest of the tough guys, all of a sudden he's like, he even says, he's like, I'm scared, like we're all
Mhm.
gonna die. So they're like, oh shit, like our toughest guy is scared. Um, and it just kind of it shows that like it wouldn't have worked so well if they didn't show any fear, if they were just tough the
No,
whole time. It's like they kind of knew what they were in for, and it just kind of shows they have a human side, but it also makes you cheer for them because they're like, fuck this, we're gonna fight back against this thing. They're not just gonna run and cower, they're gonna try to set traps for it. They're gonna, try different things. And at the end, Schwarzenegger is like, you know what? Like all my guys are dead. I'm gonna like full on fight this thing by myself.
well, I thought that was really cool when he figures out, oh, the mud can hide me, and then he's like, oh, damn it, spoiler, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a 40-year-old movie, so spoilers. But like when he figures that out, and then he starts making all the traps and stuff, and it was just like there's mood shifts in the movie that you can see where like it's like all adrenaline and all like testosterone, and then they meet the predator and they have a couple interactions, and suddenly it's like very claustrophobic and scared. And then Schwarzenegger finds out that he can hide from it, and then it feels a little uplifting and like, I'm gonna look this up right now, but I was also like the soundtrack like also plays along with that. There's a lot of moments where there's like that like quick violin stab or something like that when they have their like tense moments, but then towards the end, everything starts to get super uplifting.
Yeah, the music reminded me a lot of like Rambo 2, Rambo 3. It was around that same era where it was like similar type of macho
Alan
kind of movies.
Silvestri.
Yeah, Alan Silvestri. Yeah, it had like the perfect soundtrack. Because I remember you when we discussed Heat, and you
Mhm.
were saying how you hated the soundtrack because it was like distracting. So it's good to see a movie where the soundtrack like fits the movie.
And it's not in the background. It's not like, because there's movies where the soundtrack is in the background and it just plays a little bit. This is like a character in the movie, and it like, you can't ignore the soundtrack, and it works really well.
Absolutely. And it's like I always say that like if you could pick a scene that epitomizes the tough guy, musclehead action movies of the 80s, it's the scene where they're all just shooting at the trees for a solid 2 minutes. It's like the 80s peaked with that scene in that movie, and it was never the same again. And it's such a good scene that yeah, anyone who hasn't watched the movie has to watch it to see what we're
Oh
talking
man.
about.
Bill Dukes does not stop screaming through that whole scene. How many takes do you think they did of that? Like, of him, they're just like, all right, Bill, do it again.
Yeah, and it's kind of he keeps holding down the trigger on that minigun even
Yep.
after it's out of bullet. It just keeps spinning and spinning silently for a little while before he finally stops. And I think that just kind of it just sums up how scared they were, but also like it was such a it's one of those scenes where when people talk about the movie, they always like reference that part because
It's
it's
pretty arresting. It's like the peak 80s. I think you're right. It's where like all the explosions and everything leads up to just like, here you go, motherfuckers. 2 minutes of a rail gun just clearing away bushes.
and it's kind of different now watching because I've seen it so many times, so I know all the surprises. But the first time people were watching that in the theater, where you first see that Predator like take off its helmet, you see its
Hmm.
face for the first time, and even just the way they build it, because at first all you see is the Predator's point of view, like with his heat vision. You don't even see
So you
him, and
don't even
then
know
when
what's underneath. You
they,
can kind of see the outline in like some of the invisible moments. You can kind of see what it looks like, but not even.
yeah, and it's like, and then slowly, I think it's by the time you see him, Schwarzenegger covered in the mud, I think that's when you first really see the Predator not camouflaged, and you see him walking around. You see a full view of him head to toe. Um, and then after that, then you see his face for the first time. But those are all like very good reveals. And it seems like in the newer movies, it's kind of like they assume you know what it looks like, so they just don't even try to build it. They just
They just
here's the
go on with
predator,
it.
here's three predators or however many they have, and it kind of it just doesn't have that pacing that made the first one so good.
That is fair. I mean, I know everything, even going into watching Predator, never having watched it, I knew the story beats that are coming just because it's so much in pop culture. I have no idea what I'm going to go into with Predator 2. I don't think I know any like reference to it at all. I'm going in with a blank slate.
Which is good. I might even watch it tonight after the hockey game.
Hell yeah.
Um, just to be I love I know there's people that don't like Predator 2, but I freaking love it.
I,
Um,
you know what, especially the second movie sometimes, especially if it like expands on the story a little bit. You don't need to go too far, but if you expand just a little bit, I find the second one is usually Hellraiser 2 is my favorite Hellraiser of all the Hellraisers.
yeah, that's not sure if I'd agree, but
Are you a Hellraiser 3
I
fan?
don't disagree. Yeah, like the first three, it's like my favorite. It changes day to day, but
Fair enough.
we'll do Hellraiser on a different episode.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see what you think of Predator 2 because it does like changes it from the jungle to Los Angeles, and it goes from a
Oh,
small group of guys to there's gangs and police and CIA and government agencies, and really
and is it still one
expands a
Predator?
lot. And there's still just the one Predator. Um, so it could have gone. Honestly, it has a lot of elements in it that I normally don't like how they complicate simple things, but they did it so well, at least in my opinion, that it's a good movie. But I'll be interested to see what you happen to think of it.
All right. Well, I mean, I know, like you said before, you have no perfect 10, and like I'm waiting. One day there might, but where would you put Predator? Is that a 10?
Yeah, it's I'd say 9 point
Nine,
something. Yeah,
9.9.
yeah, 9.9. Yeah, maybe not that. Yeah, 9.3. I don't know. I don't know how official these ratings are, but that's kind of what I'd give it. It's always been one of my favorite. Funny enough, Elena Hlebnikova, who we had on the show a couple episodes back, is a big Predator fan too, and her and I have had some
Many
discussions
discussions.
about it.
I want to get into the lore of Predator because, like I said, I've watched Prey and I've watched Predator 1, so I've seen either ends of the spectrum now. And like, obviously, one takes place in 1988, which was then present day, and then the other takes place in pre-contact Canada. I want to know what the hell happens in between those two situations.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where the predator would come to Earth as one of the many
Or a
places it would
hunting
come.
ground, right?
It would just come, yeah, once in a while. And it got to the point where, back in the more primitive cultures, they had no way of like kind of reporting it. But once it started happening in more modern day, that's why by part two, it's like people are aware of it. The military's aware of it. So they're kind
Okay.
of starting to deal with it because I guess you can only come and start picking people off with advanced technology so many times
Before
before,
someone notices and like, wait a minute.
yeah, they're going to find bodies and be like, okay, this is not a human weapon.
I mean,
So
Arnie got away. I assume he went to tell everybody.
yeah, and actually in part two, he was supposed to come back for part two, but he ended up, for whatever reason, he didn't, over money or something, he didn't come back. So they had Gary Busey playing the character he was supposed to be.
Wait a
Um,
minute, Gary Busey is in Predator 2? I did not know that. Oh my
yeah,
God, I
yeah,
gotta
he's
watch this.
yeah, it's the good part. But yeah, there's a lot like they really expanded like throughout there's comic books and everything. They really expanded on
Well, there was
the
Alien versus Predator
lore.
comic books, right? There was a whole
Oh
spin-off
yeah,
of that stuff.
there's that. Yeah, and then, I mean, there's just straight up Predator comics. There's also Alien comics. And one of my, I had this omnibus. It was like a really thick omnibus Predator comic that I read, and it was kind of cool. And one of the endings was, I really liked the ending because it was, the Predator was in like New York City or whatever and killing people, and all of a sudden like these Predator ships appeared, and it kind of was leading towards like, oh, it's going to be all out war between the humans and the Predators. But then it started raining, and the Predators just left, and then they're kind of like, oh yeah, like they're not, it's not personal to them, they're not here to go to war, they're just here to hunt, so if the weather turns bad they're just gonna leave.
That's actually really funny. I didn't even think about that. They're like,
Yeah,
well,
so it
the
just
game
kind of
was
ended
called for
on a,
weather.
yeah, and it's just like, oh yeah, they're not here, like they have no personal vendetta against humans, they're not even gonna it's not like they're gonna put up a fight against our military because they they just don't want to, they're just here to hunt, so if it's things turn against them they're just gonna go back home. So um yeah, so what would you give Predator on a scale of 1 to 10?
I think I'd give it a nine. I give it a very strong nine. What I mostly liked about it, and I feel like people, I think you were touching on it too a little bit through your thing, but like people get really into. I watched Late Night with the Devil a while back, and I was talking to someone about it, and they didn't like it because they felt it didn't go deep enough into the lore and into the story. Whereas I liked it because it was such a fun and enjoyable movie. And that's the same way I feel about Predator 1 is like it's so fun and it's so enjoyable and like it doesn't have to be super smart and super intellectual and all the way up here. Like sometimes I just like seeing explosions and like I don't know if people count on that enough, how enjoyable a movie can be sometimes.
Yeah, and it's like I like even the very opening scene, like the first shot of Predator is like you just see the spaceship fly by and it launches a little pod, and that's it, nice and simple. By the time you get to part four, like the Predator, all of a sudden there's like this like space battle going on and they're flying through a portal. Like they just have to make every moment like way over the top.
How many
Whereas the
Predator
Predator was
movies
like
are there?
simple.
How many
Sorry.
Predator movies are there total? Like Predator, not counting the Alien versus and so forth.
There's Prey is number five.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, and then there's the two Aliens versus Predator. Yeah, it's Predator, Predator 2, Predators, The Predator, and then Prey.
Oh, so they did the aliens thing, huh? That's so
Yeah,
confusing.
as someone who does it, who didn't follow along as the movies came out, like they would not have, they wouldn't, other than Predator 1 and 2, like you really can watch them in different order, I guess, because they don't, like, they kind of got, I don't know, it makes it confusing, but
It does, because I always used to think I was just like, is Alien and Aliens just the same movie? When I was a kid, I was just is it just like a different name situation?
yeah, it'd be hard to. It makes it easier when you number them, but it's one of those things. I mean, you could kind of look it up online and see the order, but even
Yeah,
with Prey, like Prey's the prequel, so technically you could watch it before, but you could watch it at any point because it's just a standalone story.
I would agree. If you want to know what we think of Predator 2, tune on in. I believe we have a movie to review.
Predator 2. We did Predator last time. Did you get a chance to watch Predator 2?
I did indeed.
Yeah, I watched it last night for the probably 95th time. What'd
Now,
you
this
think?
is your favorite Predator movie, right?
It is not. I think part one's still my favorite,
Part
but I
one?
still really like part two comes in kind of just behind it, I would say.
I'd agree with that. I was watching it and like I was like, so the one thing I noticed is I felt like this one went in way more of a comic booky direction. So you're right, this is set in LA and the people he's hunting are drug dealers, which in the beginning are drug dealers, which I thought was a fun,
Please.
smart way to do it. Because I mean, drug dealers, it's a turf war, like the cops aren't going to notice. It's a smart way to like build tension in the film without having people being like, wait a minute, wouldn't people notice a giant alien running through LA killing everybody? But it definitely went in that more comic booky direction, and it like was a little bit sillier, I guess is the word.
Yeah, there was a few parts it went a little bit far, but it had like there was so many great moments in it. Like the opening fight scene was good. The part in the meat packing plant or whatever, that
Mhm.
was cool. There was like a whole lot of cool scenes. And something that I don't know if you realize, but the movie technically is set in the future. It's kind of hard to tell because so much time has gone by, but it came out in 1990, but it was set in
Mhm.
1997. So it's supposed to be 7 years in the future. But now
Right,
that
I
we're
didn't
in
pick up on that.
2024, you can't even tell because it's still like 30 years old.
Well, do you know what's funny? Because I noticed the guy in the subway who shoots, who pulls the gun out of his briefcase.
Yeah.
That's Bernard Getz. Do you know the story of Bernard Getz?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah.
That happened in 1984, which was like 6 years before that movie. So
Yeah.
it's kind of funny that they're like looking back and also looking forward.
Yeah, now that you mention it, that was in New York, but it was
Yes.
definitely touching on that. That honestly, that's the if I had to pick a part of the movie I don't like, it's that subway scene, which is unfortunate because I even read somewhere that like they wanted to put that in just because like it sounded like it'd be cool with the strobe lights, but I just
Mm-hmm.
found you couldn't see what the hell happened. The predator kills like 20 people, but it's so dark that you can't and it's
You
like got
can't
caught
tell
with
what
strobe
happened.
lights. You don't see what's happening. I would like to see someone like on YouTube just go through and like chop up all the frames where it turns black so you could see see the sequence
Just
of
see
events.
exactly what happens. Like you get like a little stop motion slideshow
Yeah.
play.
It's just like it was such a cool moment that like on paper it like seems like it'd be cool, but that's the only part of the movie that just annoys me because you have like 3 minutes of not even being able to tell what's happening. It's just like flashing images, but I don't want to criticize it too much. And some of the things like the how that big spaceship at the end somehow is in the sewer, like how did it get there with no one noticing? Like they dug up the
Well, like I
road
said,
and like resealed it, or it was there before they built the city and no one noticed when they were laying the foundation that
they
you know
just kind of appeared there.
yeah, it's some of it kind of strains logic, but for the most part like it was very well done. And I like how it's almost like the Mike Harrigan, the main character, Danny Glover, he was almost like more badass than Arnold. Like Arnold for the most part was just trying to run, get away from the predator,
Yeah.
where this guy is like flat out chasing
He's
him
like
down.
grizzled and like trying to like solve the thing, and he's like, I have to say, I don't know who decided that Gary Busey was the perfect replacement for Arnold. Like, I don't know who looked at those two pictures and was like, yep, that's who we're getting, Gary Busey.
It's definitely going a different direction, but his character is definitely memorable. He's
It
kind of
is.
a
It
huge asshole.
absolutely is. His death is memorable too. You know what? I agree with you. They went in a completely, I feel like they were like looking at Predator 1 and they were like, this is the direction that it went in. We're going to go completely the opposite direction. We're going to like
Yeah,
make it bigger. The city is bigger. The scope is bigger. Like the mask is, I would say, better.
yeah, it was a slightly different mask because it was a different predator, but it was
Well, and
still
you can see
same
its throat
species.
moving and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, you could even just like the little bits around his nose and stuff, like were like quivering. Like I think just the in the 5 years or whatever it was, the or 4 years, like the technology, maybe the effects, or maybe they had more budget or something, and they make it just that little bit better.
Yeah, I mean, you could put that, you could maybe not the whole movie. You could release that movie yesterday and it would be on par with the effects you see
Yeah,
in movies today, I feel like.
yeah, absolutely. It and it's kind of like even just like the pacing, the style, the story, like because the first one was kind of like 3 acts. There was like the opening big action scene, then the middle was the guys getting picked off one by one, and then the
And then
end
we
was
killed everyone.
Arnold fighting back. In this one, it was like broken down. There was so it just seemed
There
like
was a
there were
lot more. Well,
stories
we
to
had
this.
Bill Paxton in there for a little while.
Yeah, we had him. We had the whole like government agency going after. We had the drug war. We had meeting with the
I love
Jamaican
the
gangs
Jamaicans.
and those torture scenes. And then yeah, and then we had the Bill Paxton storyline. Then we even got into some stuff with like we saw more of like the Predator and his rules, like how he
He
doesn't kill the
speaks a
kid.
lot more.
Like even though the kid has a gun, it's not a real gun, but he doesn't touch the kid. He doesn't touch the pregnant woman. So we get some more insight into that. And there's like the scene where they have that the Jamaicans have that Colombian guy hung upside down. They're like torturing him.
Voodoo magic.
Yeah, they have like that whole scene where Predator kills people. Then there's like the subway scene, and there's just so many more
What do you
like
think he's
parts
doing
to
with the
it.
skins? Like, I just wondered, is he making like human skin rugs? Is he like
Yeah, like
hanging them up in his home?
because later you see his skulls they have on like some sort of display. But yeah, I don't know what he's doing with the skins. I guess they take them home and stuff them on their home planet and put them in a museum or something. They really never explain that.
I like that. I'm gonna go with that. They like stuff them and put them up there, and there's just like people like there's Arnie just like or like Bill Dukes is just there with a rail gun in their world.
Yeah. And it's interesting too in part two because you get to see him fight like gang members, but then you get to see him fight police.
Hmm.
And it also shows like even on the subway, like there's some like criminals there with guns, but there's also the civilians, like the Bernie Getz guy that just has their
A
arms.
gun
So the
just on
predator's
him.
like, all right, you're in the wrong place at the wrong time, but you have a gun.
You're
Therefore,
an aggressor. I guess I'm an aggressor too.
yeah. So he doesn't either the predator doesn't understand, like he doesn't understand that, oh, the criminals had the guns and then the good people had guns too to protect themselves. He either doesn't care or he can't tell the difference. He just sees humans with guns, therefore they're targets.
Well, or if you think about it in terms of hunting, I mean, I've never hunted a goddamn day in my life, so I don't know. But I assume if you're going hunting, you're not trying to shoot the pregnant females and you're not trying to shoot the children because you want to make sure the population stays up so that you can keep hunting them. You're probably going to try and hunt specifically the ones that look like the deer with the biggest horns. And I
Yeah.
guess humans with guns are the deers with the biggest horns.
And I guess that's why they also they go after like it says they go wherever there's conflict. It's usually like soldiers or gang members. It's kind of like the toughest, most violent guys. Because really
Yeah,
they could just go in a farmer's field until they see a hunter like a
pick
farmer with a
people
gun
off.
and pick them off. But that doesn't count, right? They go for like yeah, like the deer with or the moose with the biggest antlers, which would be Arnold Schwarzenegger, like the just like the biggest the guys who would potentially pose the biggest threat.
The conflicts are like hunting zones for them, where it's like hunting season where the conflicts are happening.
Yeah. And as you'll see in part three, which I guess we're gonna do for the
Hell
next show,
yeah.
they kind of take that in a different direction. It'll be interesting to see what you
Oh,
think about that.
interesting. I'll have
Because
to
they
check
cut
that
in
out.
part two, they say like, oh, he was in Beirut and can't remember what other places they listed, but any place where there's some sort of not necessarily war, but just like conflict going on. So gang members fighting other gang members fighting the police.
Yeah.
It's like that's violent enough that it just attracts their attention. And yeah, the I really like that opening. There's a lot of movies I don't like how when they open the movie with an action scene just to that really doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the movie, just to kind of show the main characters doing something exciting. Some of those I don't really like. Like in Hannibal, I hate that opening scene with a shootout because it doesn't seem like it fits the style of the movie.
Fair enough. Yeah, especially in Hannibal, it's such a like left turn from what ends up
Yeah, like it
happening.
turns into like a Die Hard movie where it shouldn't. But in the Predator movies, both of them, I like the opening fight scenes where it's just showing the conflict and they're well done and it obviously it's not a real world like Los Angeles in the future or past is never that bad. But I just like their portrayal of it where it's like it's just complete anarchy. Like police are losing control. It's just like gangs ruling the streets and the police are doing what they can. Like it was cool for that movie, but it was hardly realistic. Like you said, it was a definite like cartoon portrayal of it.
It was cartoony, which I mean, I'm not 100% mad at. I feel like that's the route you want to go. I'm curious to see where Predator 3 takes place in, but like Yeah, they could have gone the horror route, which is like, okay, there's this invisible thing that's running around killing people, or they could have gone the like Saturday morning cartoon where like there's this thing and it's just wasting everybody, and here's a cop who's gonna have to take them.
Yeah, it was like it was definitely borderline cartoony, but it never went. I'm like kind of the more modern Predator movies. Almost they take a lot of it too far because they can do things easier. Where I like it,
Hmm.
where like the Predator kind of like he's a hunter and he's skilled, so he kind of comes in even if there's multiple guys. Like he kind of surveys, so he knows what he's doing, so he can then jump down and take them out one by one. But it's not just like full on. Like where everything he does looks cool, where he's like all of a sudden becomes like a ninja and
Yeah, he's
John
like,
Wick style takes him out. It's like
although they
it's
did have him perched on a ledge. I love that scene of him perched on a ledge.
that that cover did when he got hit by lightning. That was a bit cartoony. Honestly, if I could go back and edit the movie, I would cut that part out. But
Cut that far. It's very like Batman Saturday morning cartoon where
yeah,
he's just perched
or
watching this.
uh, or Spawn or any of the other
Yeah.
guys that like to perch on the edge of things. But yeah, overall, I would say like there's a lot of hate for that movie online, like even among Predator fans. I don't
Huh.
get it because it's not
It's
quite as good as
just
the
as good
first.
as one, I'd say. Like I kept trying to decide if the silliness made it worse or better than one, and I feel like it makes it just as good. It's a different story, but like I didn't enjoy it any less than I enjoyed one.
Yeah, I would give it like a 0.1 or something less than the first. Or it wasn't like if I had to pick part one's better, but part two is still like very good movie. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I think so. I'd probably go with yeah, if we're going by the point system, then I'd give it like an 8.8, 8.9,
yeah,
whereas I gave Predator 1 a 9. If we're going by like just regular grades, yeah, they're both nines to me.
yeah. I think it's definitely a movie that's overlooked. Predators is what the next one's called. That one's definitely more divisive, and I'm still
Oh.
kind of on the fence. It's kind of like every time I watch it, I hate it, and then I watch it again, and it's like actually it's pretty cool. So I'm gonna watch it again over the next day or two. So the next show we can review that and kind of discuss our thoughts on it. I'm interested to see as a newer Predator person, what your
What I
thoughts
think
are
of
gonna be.
three, I'm very excited. Yeah, I'm excited to see where it takes place, who's in it. Like, I'm gonna go into this completely blind. I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna be expected to be like surprised and entertained.
I'm sure you will be.
All right, see you guys later.
We reviewed Predator a couple episodes ago. Last time we did Predator 2, and now are on to Predators. I've seen it before
Predator.
a few times, and Faizel, it was your first time watching it, so I'll let you go first. What did you think?
So I mean, first I gotta remark, we've gone from Schwarzenegger to Gary Busey to Adrian Brody. I don't know what that arc is, but that arc there's an arc there somewhere. This was 23 years after the sequel,
Yeah, or
2010.
yeah, there'll be 20 years, 19 or 20 years. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, because oh, sorry, I was thinking of Predator 1. Predator 2 was like 1990 or something. So yeah,
Yeah.
20 years or something. It was hmm, how to how to describe this movie? I mean, first of all, good cast all across the board. Good cast. I love Adrian Brody. I've never seen him as an action. Every time I see him in an action movie and him as an action star, it feels weird. I don't know why. And so he was good. Marcel Ali, man. I don't know why, but when someone does the African accent, it's the same when Will Smith did the African accent for Concussion or something. I just get an African actor. Like I don't know why it like gets me so hard to see someone do that. But it's like it's like, did you ever see Get Him to the Greek?
No, I'm aware of it, but I didn't see it.
Oh, there's the scene in there where the guy's like, "Oh, me, I just wear a leopard skin jacket and I do the African face." And he's like it's just it's but either way, Marcel Ali is an amazing actor, so I love him in there. Walter Goggins is in there, who like he's just been around forever, I guess. Um, he has the worst lines in this movie.
Some of them are pretty cringy. Yeah.
I do not know who was writing his lines and what they were thinking they were going to convey, but like, oh, hard. I can't remember the other cast members, but like, so I like the
Topher
premise.
Grace.
Topher Grace, right? How could I forget Topher Grace? And I forget the lady's name too. I've seen her in a bunch of stuff. Uh, but I like the concept of it. I liked the idea of them being dropped into the Predator's world. I wasn't sure if it was supposed to be like a decoy world that they set up, which is the perfect ecosystem that humans can be in, or if it's the
Yeah, that's what it was.
okay,
Yeah.
that is what it was then. I mean, I like the concept of it, and like most of the movie, I was with it. There's a couple of times it lost me. I'm trying to remember exactly where I was just like, well, this is getting a little tedious. There's a couple of times where I got a little bored and I dipped out. But like for the most part, I really like the concept. I like the idea of them showing up. I liked, is this the first time that they introduced that there's two different kinds of predators?
Pretty sure, yeah.
Okay. And am I would I mean, I guess we don't really know. Hindsight is whatever, but like would it have been the weaker predator that came and met Schwarzenegger and
I
like
think that's what they're saying. They were like the smaller ones, and then there's bigger ones.
yeah. Well, I mean, and like it's good to know that they understand English somehow because Adrian Brody
Yeah.
talks to it. It's like I know you can understand me.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd say I do like it. If I had to give it thumbs up or down, like it's pretty good. They tried. I think it's just I even might have touched on it last time that it's one of those things where it's like as a movie progresses through sequels, it seems like they have to add more and more and more to it. Whereas
Yeah,
like the
they have
first
to
one was
build out
like
a
simple.
lore.
And now it's like, well, we have predators, but there's two kinds of predators. And there's like three of the big ones. There's also predator dogs that come in that one part,
Right,
and then
yeah.
they just disappear and you never see them again. And then there's like
Oh,
some
really?
other
You never see
alien
him in any
thing.
movies ever again?
Well, there's some predator dogs in Predator 4, but I mean in this movie, like the
Yeah, they kind of
predators are
gone out.
there.
Yeah.
And then there's those other alien things that were in the cages that chased Topher Grace. And then there's like, oh, there's the part with Lawrence Fishburne in the middle, and
Mm.
he kind of comes and dies right away.
You know
And
what?
there's
I
just
did like his character too. He was
it
crazy as
was
hell.
interesting.
I wish they'd kept him around.
The only thing I don't get, I assumed he'd been there a long time, but I was like reading about it online, and apparently he's only been there for 2 years. So it's like, would you really go crazy after 2 years? I
I
mean,
guess if you're like, I don't know what the hell else they would have on that planet, you could be going crazy because like the weird plant toxins and shit that like Topher Grace
yeah,
when he pointed it out, I was just like, how did you know that was there? Is there something about Topher Grace I should know? And then like later, I mean, but like I maybe he ate some sort of weird flower and then just went nuts. But man,
yeah, I guess that kind of explains it. I like that explanation.
Lawrence Fishburne can play a good crazy though.
And one thing I don't get, like, might even be my biggest problem with the movie is like, I can see why they picked, they're kind of like each of the main cast, they're like a soldier from a different part of the world. So if the predators are always monitoring armed conflict, it'd be fairly easy for them to go down and just grab an individual soldier and take him away.
Mhm.
And the Walton Goggins, the guy who's about to be executed, like he would have been like it's on record, he's in a prison, like they knew where he was. But for Topher Grace's doctor character, how the hell would they know, assuming he had never been exposed as a killer, how would they know that he's a killer and find him? Like
That's a
they
good point.
telling me the predators like went and dug up like his patients to see
They're
if they
doing
could poison.
investigations.
Like it's like how would they? The only way is if maybe he was like going out at night to like murder random people, and they just happened to spot him doing
Yeah.
that.
Or
But
maybe he was when you said he went out at night, I was imagining you were going to say he went out at night and screamed his crimes into the night sky, and that's how the
yeah, or
predators
something.
heard.
But yeah, it just doesn't make sense how they would be able to
Oh, and Danny Trejo, I
find him.
guess, yeah, he's a cartel, so he showed up. They were just like, yeah, these guys are always shooting shit.
Yeah, and 'cause that kind of ties back to the part two where the Mexican drug dealers or whatever, and well, Oleg Taktarov, the Russian guy who was a UFC fighter back in the day. That's kind of where I first
Oh,
knew him.
really?
Yeah, I remember it was a big thing back in like the early mid '90s or whatever, and he's like retiring from MMA to become an actor. So he started popping up in movies once in a while. I'm always like, oh, it's Oleg Taktarov, and he's fairly decent. He's still acting, so he's making a go of it.
Yeah, he was in The Machine most recently. I didn't see that. That's on my list of movies to see. I've heard it's very good.
Yeah, I think, and I do like the idea. It's like, yeah, I mean, they could have just done another one on Earth with some different
No, I like the idea that they threw
military
it into a
guys.
different planet. Yeah.
And it kind of makes sense because, yeah, I think we mentioned last time that after a while, like especially part two, you see that like people are onto them, right? Like military, government agencies, as soon as they're onto them, they're going to be watching for them. So it could be like it's kind of getting too dangerous to go to the planet and start hunting people because they know
You
you're
gotta
coming.
start bringing him there.
So they're like, let's just kidnap them and bring them to some other location and hunt them there.
Do you know what I do like a story where like we're trapped on a planet and now we're being hunted and we gotta hunt back? Like that's pretty good. I wonder like because well I won't put any spoilers in here because like I don't want to ruin it too much, but like I do wonder if that story could be gone on further. Like if they could have a whole series just based on like what happens at the end of Predators.
Well, I mean, I guess if they wanted to, I don't think they worry about spoilers. Obviously, if people haven't seen it, they should watch it
You
first.
know
But
what? Yeah, it's a 12-year-old movie.
yeah, you should have seen it by now. But even though, like, could be Adrian Brody and then the woman that, like, they're still
Alice
there.
Braga.
Yeah, they could. It's like, the next movie could be their continuing adventures because some new predators are going to come and hunt them. And I even heard that for the Predator, like part four, they talked about bringing Adrian Brody back. Like somehow he got back to Earth, but they ended up scrapping that.
Oh, so part four takes place on Earth then?
Yeah,
Oh
it kind
man,
of, yeah.
I kind of wish they'd explored the planet a little more. It does feel a little weird to have it off in this one-off kind of space.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah, it was kind of a one-off that it's like, yeah, I don't know if the predators have always been using that as a hunting ground, or if it's like I said, where they're like, oh, the Earth's getting too dangerous because they know we're coming, so let's do it elsewhere. They don't really explain
But it's got to be also difficult for them to build lore for the Predators. Do they talk in the comic books?
the predators.
Yeah.
I think they talk to each other, but it's in like a weird kind of
Okay,
hieroglyphics,
so you still
like
don't know what they're
alien language.
saying.
Yeah,
It's got to be hard to build lore for them if you can't have them explain anything. You basically have to show everything.
yeah. It's like it kind of has to be done from the human's point of view because they could have scenes with the predators and you kind of just get from watching it what they're doing. But and that's the kind of thing too when Adrian Brody wanted to get off the planet and he goes to talk to the predator. There's no way that thing understood him.
But
It's
maybe it
possible that,
kind of understood what he meant.
yeah,
But
like,
like it pulled up Earth. There's no way it would have known everything.
but I mean it's like, if you kidnap someone and they don't speak their language, you would know that their goal is to go back home.
That's fair.
And I think that I'm not sure if they were trying to imply that that predator that was tied up was the one hunting Schwarzenegger in the first one. I don't know if that's what they were saying or if it was just one like him, but he might be able to recognize the humans and what planet they're from and would
I
assume he wants to go
see.
back. That's kind of what I gathered, but
Yeah. Well, I wonder now I'm wondering how long this took place after the second movie. Like obviously it took it was filmed like 14 years after, but like did it take place in 2010? It was Adrian Brody from 2010 or was Adrian Brody from 1992 or some shit?
yeah, I don't know if I don't think it's ever explained. It's possible if you do like a deep dive on the internet, maybe
Yeah, I'm
someone
sure.
so it's figured, or maybe it's like it's extrapolated on in the comics or they explain it or something. But I think it's probably not important. I think it just takes place in modern day. And I do like I know I heard some people online like saying that Adrian Brody's not an action star, but I didn't mind him. I think he's a good enough actor that
He's
he did
very
a good
good.
job. Yeah.
It just it's one of those moments where when he says the cool like line, it feels very different if it was spoken by Arnie versus if it was spoken by him. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't feel as authentic when he says it, but he's still a good action star. Like he still
he
like
is.
pulls it off.
And he did that gruff sounding voice like the entire damn time. It's
Yes,
like
he did.
it's like you don't have to do your dirty Harry impression in like
He
every
just
single
kept losing more and more shirt as well. He started off with full shirt, and then he was sleeveless, then he was shirtless, then he was like sleeveless again. It's
and I
like
know
Adrian
people
Brody's been working out. He's gonna show it.
And honestly, he's a pretty big guy, like compared
He's
to Arnold, though.
jacked.
But he's a pretty big guy. So
Man,
like,
so
you
the
can
last time I saw a movie that had Adrian Brody in it was The Pianist, I'm pretty sure.
oh
And
yeah,
like
Dennis
that
Franz.
he's like starving because he's like homeless and a Jewish Holocaust survivor. So like when he would like ripped his shirt off in Predators and he was all jacked, I was like, holy shit, how when did he get so jacked?
Yeah,
I wish they would have showed us more creatures. Like you said, the dogs kind of showed up and they left, and then like nothing else. I wish they'd shown us like, you know what would have been fun is that they realized they were on a different planet by like they were walking by and they saw like a weird bird bee hybrid, like something that doesn't look quite. They tried to emulate Earth, but it doesn't quite look
yeah.
like. They're like, oh, what is that?
Kind of weird. Like there was plants, but like there was no mammals, there was no birds, there wasn't even any bugs. I think that they
No. Well, they had the
noticed.
cockroaches when that the what was it? The guy's skin, and it was like the cockroaches were calling out of the skin.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But like, I wish they would have explored the creatures more. But then, I mean, as far as a Predator movie, it's yeah, I'd say it's very middle of the pack. It's not the greatest. You would have thought it would have expanded more by taking it onto a different planet and putting more predators there. But like, they didn't take advantage of that opportunity as well, I don't think.
Yeah, it's kind of like I can't put my finger on what exactly was wrong with
It
it, but
just
it's like
feels
after
lacking.
watching the first two, it's like, yeah, that was a cool movie. In part three, it's kind of like, yeah, it's missing something. I don't know what. I don't know what they could have done to made it better, but
Maybe it was
it's
trying too hard to be an action movie, quote unquote. And it's from 2010, that famous era. The parts of the movie are so dark, like not thematically, but like cinematographically wise, it's just
yeah.
all darkness. And that's like that era of like The Dark Knight when that movie came out and suddenly everything was like dark and like shades of black. Like it came out during, so that's that. And like, if I'm thinking about Predators 2, it was trying to be way more cartoony and over the top. And then 2010 Predators is trying to be like gritty, realistic, dark. Like, I just feel like maybe they should have like turned that dial down a little.
Yeah, it's I think my favorite parts of it were like the kind of the first half when it was like they didn't know where they were and it was in the daylight. And then kind
Mhm.
of once the action started picking up, it kind of like got not as good.
Yeah, well, because you were all, it was all like preparing and tense, and you were like, oh man, the predators could attack at any time. I guess they gotta get moving. They gotta set up shelter. They gotta get food. Like it's that whole like, oh, we gotta prepare for this coming thing. And then when the thing came, you couldn't see what the fuck was happening because it was too
Yeah.
dark.
Yeah, the Japanese guy with the sword. I know there's a lot of things online where people hate the fact that he like took a predator on by himself, especially after Billy in the first movie tried to do that and lost. I don't have a problem with it though, because for one, Billy, we never saw the fight with Billy the Predator. He could have put up a really good fight, but he was also standing on a log, like a big, so he had like 2 feet to move. This other guy had a big field, so he had more room to maneuver. And I'm glad that the Japanese guy got to because he had like one line in the entire movie. So
I
I'm glad
did
he at least got to kick some ass for a little bit.
I did love that everybody else on the crew had like enormous guns and rail guns and bazookas and shit. And like Japanese guy had like a handgun and he was just like pew 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 pew.
But it's kind of good. Like, at least the predators, they could tell by just monitoring Earth. Like they could tell that like just to have some variety. They weren't just like, all right, let's pick 6 American soldiers. They're like, let's pick different parts of the world, but also different types. You know, like a cartel guy, and like some of them are kind of like gangsters, but some are like military. Um, some are just like violent guys with no professional training. So you can tell that just to keep things interesting, they kind of mix it up a little bit.
I think the time would be right for like a miniseries, a Netflix style miniseries where like a bunch of people get transported and now they got to figure out. I would love that show. I'd probably watch that show on a weekly basis if they're trying to figure out how to get off the planet, but also like what the fuck this planet is. Da da da. I did read that they had Badlands is the next predator that they're having in the works.
Oh, okay,
That
yeah, I think you
name
might.
might change.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what you think of the Predator, the next one, because the general consent. Well, you can read online what the general consensus is, but like people are saying it like destroyed the Predator franchise because
Really?
they came
That
back with
bad?
Prey, which was kind of turned things around. So I think there is hope that
So
um
I mean, I know this came, so this one, Alien versus Predator and Alien versus Predator 2 came in between Predator 2 and this movie, right?
Actually, no, I think Alien, the first Alien versus Predator, I think was before Predators. I think it was like 2005 or something.
Yes. Yeah, it was 2004 and then AVP 2 was 2007. I always thought
Yeah.
AVP 2 was the one that killed both of those. But I mean, I've never seen the movies. That's just what I picked up from pop culture.
I I remember everyone hated it, but I don't consider them a Predator movie or an Alien movie. That I kind of consider them like a separate offshoot. So it's like whatever. It's kind of like a band having a side project. If it
Yeah, I
sucks, it
guess.
doesn't main band. That's the way I see it. But yeah, they were. Well, we could talk about Alien vs Predator another time, but like yeah, Predator. It's kind of the one where just like a lot of modern movies where they just seem to like they just can't strike that right note anymore. They just never. It's like they
I
make the
think
Star Wars movies and it's just never satisfying enough. And
I think, and I very genuinely think like they're very, but like even the Star Wars, the first Star Wars, that's the only one I saw of the reboots is the first one. They're very concerned with riding a specific wave, whether it's like the feminist protagonist, the female protagonist led movie, or like the gritty, dark, like Dark Knight style movie or whatever. It's way more concerned about riding that wave than it is about telling a good story.
yeah, yeah, it's I just part of me wishes that like they would just take every single franchise and just not do anything with them for like 15 years.
Yeah,
Just
just
forget
stop.
about
Just have all the studios get together and they're like, all right, listen, this has gotten a little crazy.
it.
We need
Yeah,
to just turn the off switch for a while. It'll be the golden age of indie film for like 10 years, and then we'll come back.
and then come back. Yeah, we could just maybe even just stop making movies and TV for 15 years and we'll
Just
all go
like
watch
we
sports or
have
something.
enough. We've made enough.
Because now it's like now they're just it's like more and more Star Wars and it's just kind of
Yeah,
like
well, the Marvel
uh
universe is insane. I've never seen a Marvel movie past the first Avengers. But like every time I look at one of those Marvel maps where it's like, here's how you'd start watching the Marvel movies, and I'm like, oh, get the I don't
like who
know.
has that much time and
Yeah,
now it's like you just feel like the people just the hatred like it used to be Marvel they're great and now it's like and
oh,
movie
here's
and everyone
another one.
trashes it and now they're making movies of characters that like people have never heard of and it's like it used to be like Iron Man Captain like all the most famous ones and now it's like they've just run out of things and they're pumping them out faster and it's just like how quickly can they put the nails in the coffin and it's like we just need a break of for a while just to let people like start wanting it again
Yeah,
instead of
you
like
need to chill out
drive
for a little bit.
another Marvel movie. It's like
Well,
let's
it's like
just
7 Marvel movies in a year or something. Yeah, they need to turn
plus
it
the
down to
TV
zero.
shows.
Plus the TV shows. And then all the other side media that they have, yeah, they need to turn it off to zero, and then like just we'll come back to it in 2 years.
So I just like I hate same with Star Wars. Like I remember I miss like being excited about it. It'll come out, you're excited about it, and you're like, oh, that was so cool. And now it's just like there's no excitement. It's like another Marvel movie, like another Star Wars movie. It's just it doesn't mean anything anymore. And then when you
It's,
watch it, it's usually not very good.
well, it's kind of just a guaranteed cash. Like I
Yeah.
never watched The Mandalorian, but like all the like it's just one of those things where you have a built-in audience, so you know you'll get a certain market share. You can put it out, people will watch it regardless, and like you can log more money in the banco.
Yeah, it's all about getting subscribers. It should almost they should have a rule where it's like if the movie isn't like people vote on it somehow, and if people don't like the movie past a certain percentage, 70% of movie, those filmmakers are not allowed to work in the industry ever again. Right. So all
Well,
of a sudden they have a stake in it rather than just pump crap out as fast as they can because as long as there's eyeballs on it, doesn't matter. It just
yeah.
seems like they should take more pride in what they do and
Or they
instead of
could give more
fast.
like freedom to the directors and stuff. Because I know it's such a tightly controlled, like, who's the
Yeah.
guy? Kevin Feige or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
it's such a tightly controlled production scale, but like, that just means the stories are kind of all the same.
They're all the same. I even heard that like for the Marvel movies that like the director will just direct the scenes basically where the characters are talking. And then for all the action scenes, those are just pieced together by the special effects team. So basically it's so each individual Marvel movie doesn't have its own style. so it doesn't even really matter who the director is. It's just they don't even they can just have AI direct it. Like they don't really need a human. It's just create the same thing with the same type of script, different words, and it's like yeah, every movie is the same. Like
I was gonna say it's time for the indie superhero movie to come out, but I mean, I guess Joker was already here and it did that.
yeah, at least Joker. I mean, not really a superhero movie, but it was at least kind of different than the others. But like yeah, it just seems like every movie, even the new Indiana Jones, like it's just it seems like it's every other movie out there. Like they just change the title. Like I miss the days where things were different. Like Aliens is different than the Predator. It's like those series, they look different, they feel different,
They're
they are
completely
different.
different series. Yeah, it
And
doesn't feel
now
like
it's
you could
just
just
like,
like splice two of them together and you could honestly, that should be an idea. Someone should like start splicing movies into movies.
yeah.
Like, would
But
we
I
ever
think like
notice if you
it'd be
put
so
Indiana?
easy. Like it's kind of like when I don't know if you listen to those things on YouTube where they take like different Nickelback songs and play them at the same time, and it's like always the
These
same
songs have
song.
the same BPM.
It's like that with movies where they just all follow the same story and they just I don't know. It's
These movies have the same BPM.
I just miss I miss creativity. I should like there are a lot of cool movies that are coming out, but most of them are not the really big movies. It's not the Star Wars and the Marvel. It's
But I
the
mean, it's part
smaller
of
ones.
what it's part of a cycle. It's part of a wave. Hopefully, like, yeah, we get up here. We get up here where like everything is so glitzy and glam, and people get tired of that. And then we see a little bit rise of indie film and indie aesthetics, and like, and A24 keeps coming out with the glossy like indie films, which even I'm getting tired of those too. Like, I want to see something. I don't know what I want to see at the moment. That's brought up an interesting thought, but I need to see something different in the film space.
Yeah, and it's hard because like what could you possibly see that hasn't been done before?
Yeah,
There's so many movies, and movies have been around for over 100 years. Like what original is there left to do? There's probably a lot. It's just going to take someone doing it before we
someone has
realize,
to
hey,
think
we should be
about
doing
it.
that.
Yeah. But I mean, it always happens. There's always, every couple of years, something always comes out where it's like, whoa, this is a revelation.
Yeah, and sometimes it's something we forgot about. Like when um what's it called? Blair Witch. It's like there'd been found footage before, late 70s. It's just we forgot about it and it became huge. Then somehow we forgot about it again, and Paranormal Activity came out, and it's like, oh my God. It's like, yeah, we
Yeah.
did this. It's like every 10 years or so, we kind of forget about those, and then it kind of has a
Something new
resurgence,
pops
done in a
up and
different
then
way.
everything gets crazy again and then like it subsides. And have you ever seen
Yeah,
the series that the Blair Witch guys did called Freaky Links?
no.
Oh, we'll have to review that one of these days. We'll have to start a review list, but like that was a fun TV series they did. It was actually really good. All right, well, Predators. What do you rate it? I'm gonna say I'm giving it a 7.
I'd probably go 6.5,
Okay.
7, 7 on a good day.
It was
So
a good concept. It wasn't crazy offensive except for Walter Goggins. And like it wrapped up fine, but like you said, there was something missing from it. It's a very nice meal that's just slightly undercooked.
yeah, yeah, it's a good way to put it. Okay, so next we're gonna watch
The
I don't really don't want to
Predator.
have to. I don't want to have to sit through the Predator again. But I will, just because you're going to do it,
For
and I want to kind of
completion.
refresh my mind. And I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to like it. Like I'm not gonna go in pick it apart. I'm gonna try to give it a positive spin if I can to at least be fair to it. But we'll talk about that one on the next show we do.
All right. Well, have a good one, Brandon.
Bye.
Jeez, I
See you,
almost
everyone.
called you Predator. I was like, have a good one, Brandon.
Not a bad, not a bad name. All right. See ya.
Take it easy. Oh man. The Predator 2018.
Yeah, I could tell by your tone that it's not going to be good. Yeah, we did Predator, we did Predator 2, we did Predators last time. Now we're doing The Predator, which is uh direct. I can't remember if it was written by him, but directed by Shane Black, who, funny enough,
Oh,
played Hawkins in first Predator movie.
it was written by Fred Decker, who I had to look this up because I was just like, what is the deal with this movie? And Fred Decker, one of his credits is the writer on Monster Squad.
Yes, which is like I love that movie. I absolutely love
It
that.
is, but this is the Monster Squad of Predator movies, I feel like.
Yeah, so it like I will in its defense, I will say I don't think it's as bad as like
No.
everyone on the internet makes it out to be. It's not that horrible. It's just not very good. It's like when I watched it in the theater and I there's comes a certain point. I've done it with other movies like the Star Wars sequels and stuff where it starts becoming not very good. So I try to ignore the story and I'm like, I'm just gonna look at it. I'm just gonna watch it for Predator
Just
killing people.
disassociate.
Yeah, it's just like if you just watch it for cool stuff, and just try to ignore the fact that it makes no sense. But it's really hard when it seems like every 3 minutes there was just something that kind of pissed me off. And it's like, okay, just ignore it and try to like it, and then they would just hit you with another one, and finally, I honestly I don't know what they were thinking. It's like I think we mentioned it before. It's like they overthought it. It's like a Predator story doesn't have to be complex. It doesn't need that many freaking side characters in it. And like they have the team of military prisoner guys, and they have the military guys, and they have the military guy's family, and then they have like a love interest, and then they have the side thing where the kid's got autism and he's
Oh
being
my
bullied at
God.
school, and it's like it's just like the story. The first movie was like 8 guys in the jungle. That's it, and it was so well done. And now it's like going off in all these directions and subplots, and there's like
It
a government
feels,
agency after them, and
it feels like in some places, it feels like they couldn't decide between whether they wanted to make a parody or an action movie. Like, I remember at one point, like, this is, well, first, I mean, first of all, let me say the cast in this movie top tier. Like they got Thomas Jane in there. They got oh, what's his name? The main government guy. I forget his name, but like he's a really good actor. Like just the cast in general. I love everybody that's on the cast in this. Um I think the writing is where this movie suffered the most. Even the direction, the maybe the Predator mask wasn't as good as the previous ones, but like it's the writing that it suffered at, but like it felt like they were trying to make a parody movie as well as an action movie, but they couldn't decide, and it's halfway in between both. Um, the part where I kind of was like, okay, this is not as serious as all that, so maybe my brain needs to unserious itself a little bit, is the house. The house that the Halloween trick-or-treating house that blew up when the kid's wearing the mask and he goes and he trick-or-treats at the house and then the guy who like first of all, what kind of asshole like throws a apple or throws something at a kid walking
yeah.
away from a house? But then like I noticed the number on the house is 420. And I was just like, okay, all
uh
right.
it's like
Because you'd have to build that house and put those numbers on there. And I was just like, okay, well, I don't know what kind of movie you're making here, but it's not an action predator movie.
yeah, I actually knew now that I just like Frank Decker, is that his name?
Fred Decker, yeah.
Fred Decker. He directed Monster Squad, right?
I think so. Let me look it
Because
up.
I'm pretty sure that like Shane Black, his first credit was writing Monster Squad. So
No,
they
so
basically
they did a
switched.
switcheroo.
I'm pretty sure.
Let's see here. Monster Squad, written by Shane Black, directed by Fred Decker. You're
Yeah.
right.
So now it's like they just switch one, but it just seems like two buddies that are like, "Hey man, let's make this movie," and they're kind of both like, it was almost like it was too like smart ass or something. Like they thought they were too clever.
It is the smart assest movie ever, but it's not clever. And like the scenes with the Looney Squad and they're like hanging out and interacting with each other are so cringe. This whole movie, the dialogue is very cringe. It's just like
Yeah, it's like they just thought they were funny, and the thing is like the characters in the first movie, if you really think about it, they are a little bit ridiculous. Like they're so macho, but they were believable on some level. In
because
the
they're not
Predator,
like tongue-in-cheek biting characters where I think these guys were supposed to be like tongue-in-cheek, like they're military guys, but they're crazy. And the one guy
yeah,
shot himself and like
it's like I
ah,
could see the writing, right? Like I can't just watch it and pretend it's real. It's like I could just see it being written, and it's
that's a
like,
really good way of putting it. I
yeah,
can see the writing. Like I can see someone writing this down. But I mean the other parts like the Predator scenes were really good. I thought like the idea of the super predator coming and hunting the lesser predator, and this predator is here to like, I mean, they tried to tie in like ecological disaster into it a little bit, and I was just like, okay, it's a little late in the movie to bring in your eco message movie, like, and they
Yeah,
didn't even pay that much attention to it.
yeah, it's like they were just trying to do too much. And like, and to be honest, like I know there's been stuff on the internet about how, people with autism are like kind of pissed as to how they it's like
Well,
just because
because
you have autism doesn't mean you're like a genius
well, this
savant.
is long after that because I think it was Prison Break where like suddenly all these movies and TV shows after that started coming out where like if you had autism, you had superpowers.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is the first scene. This movie came out in 2018, first of all. Prison Break came out in 2006. I think by 2010 that autism wave of movies had stopped. So I don't know what this movie was doing, but like when they first introduced the kid and he gets bullied by the stereotypical bullies, I was like, this kind of sucks. This is lame. And then he sets the chess pieces back together again. And I was like, oh, this is kind of an interesting way to show like he doesn't interact with people, but he has this like if they hadn't put the bully part and somehow the chess pieces got like shook out of place or something, and then he put it back together, I would have been like, this is a very interesting scene to like show this how this person operates without like really saying anything. And then the second this little son of a bitch opens his mouth, I think it's the next scene where he talks, and I'm just like, get him out of here,
Yeah.
leave, because
Yeah,
it's
like why
just
is he
so
even in the movie? Like,
expository.
and the thing is, like, I'll say right now, I hate scenes with bullies. Like every single
It's
movie
so
that
lame.
has a kid at school has them getting bullied. It's just like it's like an artificial way to create drama that doesn't really affect the rest of the story for the most part. Oh, he's
And
getting bullied. It's and another one is kind of like the main character goes to a bar and then some assholes try to pick a bar
starts
fight with
picking
him.
on him. Yeah.
Like you can't do. But even, honestly, why is any of the family stuff even in this movie? Like even
Yeah.
in Predator 2, like you never saw Danny Glover's character go home and he's got a
And
problems
he's
with his
got a wife
wife and
and
his kid.
kids that and he's
You
like
never even saw
grizzled.
you never even mentioned it. I don't It's just like here's him doing his job. So here we
Or the
got like military guys and all this stuff, and it's like let's take time away to delve into this freaking little kid's story that I
or the
do
fact that the
care about.
little kid with autism figures out the like predator helmet and the predator band is just like, come on.
And then he like wears it out. It, it just I don't know. Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. And yeah,
It's
the whole thing with
hard.
the guy, like, yeah, there's no one who's big enough asshole who's just gonna be drunk and then like throw shit at a little kid. Not to mention, then the kid like just murders him in cold blood, and they brush it
This
off like it's
guy's
no big
dead
deal.
now. We don't even know what happened to him. His house is blown up. He's gone.
It's just like, yeah. I could just see like when they were like, especially in that the bus, scene where they first meet all the guys and guys, Keegan Michael Key, like they are hilarious guys.
It's such a
But
good like Thomas Jane is so good. I'm so sad he has to do stuff like this.
And I could just see the writers, like when they were working on that, they probably just like they're just writing and they're like, oh man, like I'm so freaking good at this, man. I'm so smart.
How
And
many pussy jokes can we get Michael Key to say? How
yeah, and the thing is, like some of them were funny if it was like in a meme or something. It's like, okay, but to put it in a movie and that's supposed to like build his character, like it's just like
I
like yeah,
can
it's so
see the
cringe.
person at the typewriter writing the lines as they speak them. Like the actors are trying as hard as they can to convey the lines, and like the guy who I forget his name, but he was on in Living Color back in the day. But he's the main like bad military guy that
The
like
guy that
kidnaps the
chews the
kid.
gum.
He's so charismatic and he does such a good job with those terrible lines. Like he delivers them so well.
He's probably my favorite guy in it.
Oh man, that's because he's just doing such a good job with whatever dreck they
Yeah.
gave him.
It's almost like they gave everyone like too much character. It's like let's just
Yes.
like I kind of do that in horror show, but I did it as like a joke to make it like a ridiculously bad
Well,
slasher movie. It wasn't supposed to be real. I wouldn't do that in a movie that was supposed to be real.
and that's what I'm trying. I feel like they were confused between whether they're trying to make a Monster Squad, a Predator movie, or a parody of Monster Squad and Predator.
Yeah, it's like it worked for Monster Squad, but like it's like Predator. You could have some fun with it because you
You
even said
can.
the other ones were cartoony. but on some level, it has to be a little bit serious because you're about people being hunted. There's got to be suspense. There's
It can't
violence.
be self-aware. If you're gonna go like the extra muscles man route and you're gonna like shoot machine guns, you can't be self-aware. You gotta bring it down so that like it's less clever. I mean I hate to say that, but like needs to be less clever.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And honestly, like Prey, the next one that we'll review probably next time, they don't really do that. Like they get back to they at least take it seriously. I mean, say what you want about the movie, but at least they took the movie seriously. Where this one, it's like every joke is like, oh, groan, eye roll. Like
I
it's
wonder if this was like the what did you call it? Like the apex where they like made it bigger, made it bigger, made it bigger, and then they went too big and everything blew up, and they were like, "Oh shit, we need to go back to basics
yeah,
now."
that's probably that seems like what happened.
Well, I
And
noticed
yeah,
that.
like they basically just pulled the plug on it kind of ended with like, oh, they got that Predator suit. This is gonna lead somewhere cool. But then everyone's like, this movie sucks. So they're like, all right, fuck this. We're gonna like
We got to go back.
change direction. And it like when
Well,
they
they
had like the
fucked up
Predator
their own.
dogs in there, like they just like threw everything into the movie. Like
Well, they fucked up their own timeline too. I think in the movie because like the guy says they've been tracking them since 1987 and then again in 1997, and like the movie came out in 1987, but then the second one came out in 1990, and I don't think it said 1997. And
it
like,
did say 97. Yeah.
oh, it did. Okay, it is said in
Yeah.
97. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's
Part two
fine. But
took
like,
place in the future. So I guess they
yeah.
they get that detail right.
They got that detail right at the very least. And I mean, they had like the get to the chopper line, and I was like, okay, all
Yeah.
right, fine.
But even honestly, even just the whole opening, parts where the guy finds the like the ball or whatever that thing, makes him like invisible and then he's trying to like mail it home and like there's this I don't know, it just like they should have just like skipped all that, got right to it. Like there was so many parts that yeah, oh here's
I
the kid
think
at school. It's like, come on, get on with it. Like
I think if you're gonna do a Predator marathon, this movie wouldn't work as great. But if you're gonna do like a Monster Squad, and then like I'm trying to think of other movies around that. Like if you're doing like a funny monster movie, this movie would fit in perfectly in that
yeah,
marathon.
like if it's a standalone film, this type of like style could work. But you're in the fourth part of a popular beloved series. It's like you got to kind of take it seriously because you do have
Or you got
fans that love this kind of thing.
Well, you gotta respect the stuff that came before you. You can't be like, well, all that stuff that came before, that was crap. We need to be clever and funny and make fun of the previous stuff a little bit.
Yeah,
You got to respect it and be like, this is what they set up, and this is how I got followed up with something that's like better in that tradition, not like better making fun of it.
and I don't know if that was their intention, like the writer or the director. Like I would assume it's not. I don't think they were trying to like mock it. I think they just kind of got high on their own writing skills
Yeah.
and they're just like, man, I can think of the funniest stuff. And not every like I noticed even Star Wars started doing that. It's like a modern Hollywood thing where every line has to be like kind of funny, like sarcastic. Marvel does that, right? And it kind of like, especially when you're in a serious scene where there's like fighting going on, like lives are at stake, and every joke is like every line is some sort of like wisecrack. It doesn't sound real. It just sounds like dialogue. It just sounds like a writer trying to be
It-
funny, throwing in funny lines, and it doesn't work in a serious movie.
no. But like again, I did like the Predator parts of it. I thought the Predator costume wasn't as good as the previous two movies, which is funny because they're like so far apart. But like, the Predator costumes weren't as good. But like the storyline of the first one crashing and trying to like bring us some technology to defeat the bigger one and the bigger one coming to, I start to get into it when that stuff really started picking up. I was like, I'm into this now.
There's parts like like in the theater, I was just trying to ignore everything except just watching the Predator shoot people. And it's like if you take it at that level, yeah, there's some cool parts in
It's
it.
fun.
Like it's not like I don't think anything about it was like it was well performed, it was well shot. It's like they had
Yeah.
some cool stuff. It's just all the extra stuff they threw in there that it just kind of like took it it just kind of went off the rails somehow. And it's like I think there's like a this theory in Hollywood. They kind of did it with a Die Hard series where the first one was like one guy in a building and it was cool. But as it goes on, it's like, you know what? He needs a sidekick.
It
it's
needs
like
to
it
get
needs to be
crazier.
bigger. It needs to have more and more and more stuff thrown in there. He needs to have his son with him, and then it's like,
More opportunities for merchandising.
yeah, and it just kind of like there's too much in there now, and you kind of miss it, the earlier ones where same thing with Indiana Jones, right? It's like it started with just the hero and a story, and now there's like, you know, a woman and a kid involved, and it's just like there's
Have you
just
seen
too
the new
much.
one, Down Destiny? I haven't seen it yet, but like I'm trying to decide if I want to see it.
Yeah, it's honestly it's like every other movie that comes out now. It's okay. I
Fair
honestly
enough.
can't even really remember it. It's like by the time I left the
Yeah, okay,
theater,
that's not great.
it's
Oh well.
yeah, I just
This one though, I think this is my definition of an average movie. Like in order to rate it, I would give it a 5. I would say this is my like it's not so bad that I'm gonna walk out of the theater. The only movie where I've walked out of the theater was Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Like I just did not like the movie. I loved the book so much. I walked out of the so I'd give that like a 4 or 5 or 3. But this one, it's not so bad that I walk out of the theater, but it's not so good that I'd tell people to watch it. I'd give it a
yeah,
solid 5.
I'd have to agree. I know there's like a lot of hatred online where they just like rip it apart. It's not that bad. It's just, and it's almost
It
worse.
keeps
Like
my
it's worse to be
attention
average.
and I get into it. Yeah, it's whatever. I'm not mad that I watched it, but I'm just kind of like, man, could have done better.
But if you think about it, like, now we have like five or more, whatever Predator movies to watch. If you watched them as they came out, like you're waiting like a decade or more for the next one to come out. So if you're a big fan, all of a sudden it comes out and it's like, oh man, now I gotta wait like another 10 years for the next one. Like it's
And
kind of
God
like a
knows what
kick in
they'll
the
do.
pants. um, but it's like, yeah, it's not that bad. It's just like it's just one of those things. It's just like they can never get it right anymore. Like it in Hollywood. It just seems like everything they try with any sort of well-known property just never like can you think of anything where like the newest one is the best of the series?
I'm trying to think if I've seen anything. Yeah,
Like
nothing
it's
recent. Like,
whereas if you were in like the 80s or 90s or even 2000s, a lot of the times like I think the third Indiana Jones is the best one. Like when that came out,
yeah,
it's like
no,
yes,
there's some
they
peak
ended on a
films that
good
came
note, and then they make two more and they're not as good, and it
out.
it's like they somehow it's like they've lost their touch, and yeah, I don't know how to solve the problems. I guess all we can do is make our own stuff the way we see fit and not copy.
Although, the Ghostbusters franchise, like I didn't like the first remake they did, but then Afterlife, I think it was, that was quite good. I did enjoy that. The one they shot in Sundry.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Yeah, same like yeah, that 2016. I couldn't even finish it. Like
Yeah.
I wanted to like it, but I freaking hated
No,
it.
no, that was not great. It was basically a remake of the first one.
Yeah, and just like they were like yeah, they didn't take it seriously. Like it was just bad jokes. But yeah,
but I
Afterlife
mean,
was pretty good. I haven't seen the Frozen
same.
Empire.
I haven't seen the newer one yet, but I do want to see it because like I thought they were doing good so far. So I was like, all right, this
Yeah,
next one out, right?
it's probably going to be an instance of like it's not what it used to be. It never will, but taking on its own merit, it's pretty decent. Like I liked Afterlife. It's pretty cool. Okay, great. Well, it's great talking to you again. So I guess next time you want to do Prey next.
Yeah, yeah, let's do. I'm excited to watch Prey. I've watched it before. I'm not going to give away my opinion. You could probably guess, but I'm excited to watch it again.
All right, let's do it. All right, bye everyone. We'll see you next time.
All right, take it easy. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the movie review show. I'm Faizel.
I'm Brandon Rhinus.
How are you guys doing? I almost said I'm Brandon for a second while we were doing the intro. Honestly, I kind of wish I had, and then I just gone like, and who are you today?
I get us mixed up sometimes. Like, am I Faizel or am I Brandon? Yeah.
What are we reviewing today, Brandon?
Today we're continuing in our line of Predator movie reviews, and we are on to the fifth installment, which is called Prey, and it came out 2022, I believe.
Yeah, I think you're right, 2022. I have the page open here that I can look. August of 2022.
And this one has the distinction of being filmed in Alberta, where we both live, and a lot of people we know worked on that movie.
right in our own backyard. Like in Calgary, a lot of people were like extras in it and stunt doubles and like, do you know, and this is the thing that I guess is the first thing I think because I've been working in film, quote unquote, for a while. But when Prey came to town, which I'm gonna say 2018 is the first time I remember hearing about Prey. And what I remember hearing was through a wardrobe person that they had a standing order on any leather coming into Alberta, specifically because they were making so many moccasins from scratch that they were buying up entire like stocks of leather and then making these moccasins, and they just kept having to buy it. And like that was the first time I became aware of the phenomenon of like you're a small town and a production company comes to town to shoot a movie set in a small town and they just take shit over because like production crews can be all bigger than small towns in some aspects.
No, I don't think they're bigger than Calgary, but
But like the smaller like Sheerness, so there's some small towns in
yeah,
Alberta.
yeah, they were shooting in
Can you
some.
imagine an entire movie crew descends in on this town and is just like setting up like just setting themselves up and like hitting the bar every night?
Yeah, yeah, it was. I remember it being a pretty big deal when it was here.
So
So I
dope.
guess to get
First
down
time.
to it, what did you think of it?
I loved it. I loved it the first time I saw it. I loved it the second time I saw it. I loved it the fifth time I saw it, which is the time to prepare for this review. I really liked like the story. I liked how little they spoke during the movie. I liked that it was like they used everything. How to put this? Like everything was used with a purpose. I think I heard a review recently of The Godfather, and someone talked about how The Godfather, each scene leads you to the next scene. There's no wasted scenes that don't lead anywhere. Everything leads to the next thing, to the next thing. That's how I feel about Prey. Like there's nothing wasted there. Each sentence is information you're given. Each look, each everything is just like given to you with a purpose.
Yeah, I think that's a good critique. I would say I loved it. I would say I liked it. It was
Yeah.
like very well done. Like the, I hate to pick it apart
No, but this is the show.
and honestly, I would only do this because this is a critique show. So it's like, hey, I'll point out the things that are bad, but it honestly, like I do, like it was very well done. Like it was well acted. Story was cool. Cinematography was friggin' phenomenal. Like the sets look good. Like you tell they put a lot of work into it. So I like, if I had to give a thumbs up or thumbs down, clearly thumbs up. But since we got to talk about something, we may as well get into it. So I'm gonna, point out some of the things that kind of that I know. I made my little notes here. Just things that I noticed that you know,
Irked you to a certain degree.
yeah. Um, one being like it took for freaking ever to get started.
It did, and it went through two names, right? It was Skulls first before it was Prey. Oh, you mean the actual movie?
No, like, yeah, I mean like the
Okay.
story takes so long. Like in the first movie, it was like bam, the dudes land. It's like here's your mission. Within like 2 minutes, they're flying there. Like it happens fast.
Whereas this, they spend a lot more time with the main character, like
Yeah,
her growth,
which
essentially.
is I know they say like in script writing courses you got to develop the characters and make people care and blah blah blah, but you could do that while having cool stuff happening. It just like but the thing is like the acting was good, cinematography was stunning, like the just the scenery, it's
But the
like
first half wasn't a Predator movie, essentially.
yeah, the
I can
first
see
like 40 minutes was like a nature documentary of how freaking awesome Alberta looks. Which
that.
like I like it is like it looks like a nature documentary for some of it. It's like wow, that is
Yeah.
like beautiful cinema. Like it's very well done, which is cool the first time you're watching it, but after subsequent views, after you've seen it multiple times, it's like okay, I kind of want to just skip to the Predator stuff. And they have like what's her name? Noru, what's the character's name? I wrote it down.
Oh, I forget. Man, Amber Mid Thunder.
Naru. Yeah,
Yeah.
Naru is her character's name. And there's just so many things with like her versus the cougar, and then there's like the wolf chasing the rabbit part, and then there's the predator fighting the wolf, and then there's the bear fighting the root, and then there's the bear fighting the predator. It just seems like they find every way they can to just not have predator
True.
fighting humans, which is kind of what I want to see.
That's fair enough. I get that, and like, yeah, that must have like it's more about like how long it took to get that shot of the wolf eating the rabbit than it is like it looks cool, but like I get it. There's no like drive to it. I don't really
Yeah,
care that much. I want to see the predator wrecking shit.
yeah, it's like, and like, the predator fighting a bear or fighting a wolf, like it's kind of cool. But I would have rather see him fighting the Native American people, because that's what the premise of the movie is, right? Is them with like primitive weapons fighting this predator. And it's like it just seems like they're trying to hold off on that for so long, to the point where it's like, yeah, if I watch the movie again, I'm skipping all of that to get to the good stuff. Whereas Predator 1 and Predator 2, like it just starts right off the first
Right off the bat. Yeah, they're
instantly.
basically, especially Predator 2. Predator 2 is the one that takes that to that final level where
Yeah.
they get as crazy as they can right off the bat.
And you could still develop characters and make them interesting and all that while other stuff is going on, like it's fine. But so that was one thing that bothered me. And some other things were small technical things that I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but the second time
Hmm.
is the sound design is almost so good, and they put so much effort into it that it becomes noticeable. And once I noticed it, it was so distracting that like every slight motion
Oh,
had
I get
like
you.
50 layers of sound in it. And as soon as I pointed that out to my buddy Adam, and now it's like, well, now I'm noticing it in everything, like every
Yeah.
step, every
Why
move of
is
the
there a
arm.
bird tweeting every like
Yeah.
5 seconds or something?
And
That's
it's
fair. Those are the kinds of things that'll take you out of a movie entirely because like you suddenly become so aware that all of this is constructed and like the whole rest of it falls apart at that point.
and even the predator, when you first hear him roar,
Hmm.
it's not just like it doesn't sound like an animal roar, which it
It's
should.
layered.
There's layers, but and there's this like there's like 50 different layers in there, and it's like, why does he? It sounds like Hollywood sound design. It doesn't sound like an animal or a
A
creature.
monster.
And then
That's fair.
every time there's blood, they have not only the squishing blood sound, which is kind of annoying, but they have the like blood splatter on the ground.
Yeah.
And once you notice it, and of course that happens like 1,000 times in the movie. And as soon as I started noticing it, it's like I can't. It's like I can't even pay attention because it's like happening so much.
I
And
guess
it's
because it's just so sterile, would you say that's part of what's distracting to you is because it was probably like recorded in a pristine recording room
Yeah,
with no other background sound and they're getting like the perfect recording and then they're putting the perfect recording amongst these other perfect recordings so everything feels real but it also feels sterile. Am I getting
yeah,
that?
it's completely sterile. It should have been a simpler, quieter movie. It's like that might work for like a Transformers movie where it's so visually loud and fast. But for a movie like this, where it's slower, it's beautifully shot,
That's
and
very
then
interesting. You would have liked way more silence, huh? You would have liked way more like shots of like no sound, but the same visuals and
I
the
wouldn't
same.
say no sound. I would just say like simpler sound.
Okay.
It just the fact like I'm not a sound person at all. Like for our movies, like I hire someone to do
Of
that.
course.
But just the fact that I noticed that, and I don't think I've ever really noticed it in another movie, but this one, something bothered me about it.
Well,
Uh,
'cause I have to say, sometimes when I make a film, like the couple of times I've made a video project, I'm always torn on how much sound design to do and how much sound design not to do. Do you know what I mean? Because like you can put sound design in there sometimes that'll like really elevate the film, but then sometimes the film is super elevated if you don't have any of that sound design and you just let the strength of what you shot speak for itself.
yeah, exactly. And there's times too where the simpler option, like in Grotesque, where we chop Marilyn's ankle off with the axe.
Yep.
I remember like I think Gallagher put in some sort of effect in there, and it didn't quite work. And I was like, you know what? I think just the natural sound that we picked up on set of just the axe burying. Of course, we didn't really hit an ankle; we just hit the dirt. Like that dirt sound sounded better. So like, let's just keep
Well,
the
that's
natural
Foley
sound.
design actually. Now that you mention it, because like yeah, because Foley design involves going out into the world and getting that like we can go down a rabbit hole like this forever, but like I'm very fascinated in what is the sound of silence because I don't know if that necessarily exists. There's all sorts of sound experiments that have been done to be like, what does a completely silent thing sound like? And if you're recording your Foley in a pristine, clean sound room, that sound of silence is also recorded into your recordings. Like you feel that for obviously you did feel that pristineness, that cleanness.
Yeah.
Whereas if they'd gone outside and recorded it with atmosphere, like in the atmosphere that they were in Calgary outside, if they'd gone and like swung a couple of axes at some things, it would have been less noticeable.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know how to solve the problem. Like I said, I'm not a sound person,
No, no,
but
no.
one of those things like editing where like you're not supposed to notice it. Like, you're not supposed to be watching this and be like, as a regular person and be like, this sound design is so good. Like you're supposed to just watch the movie. So if you start noticing it, it's like they were just trying to like show off and make impressive work, which they did. Like, it was good. It was good job, but it's like they just turned it up to 11
But
and
I
it
think
kind of like wasn't serving the story.
I think you're very right in terms of like this isn't that kind of movie because on the opposite side of the coin, I saw the new Mad Max, and that sound design was also really noticeable, but in a way that made it more enjoyable. And I think you're right because it was so high octane, like action packed, like super fast cuts, pa pa pa. That extra sound design, that extra punch in there made me be like, whoa, I'm in this. Whereas like with Prey, it's a more quieter, more meditative movie, so it doesn't need all those extra bells and whistles. It needs to be about the meditation.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, there was like a part where he's the predator in Prey. There's a part where the predator is killing all the French hunters, and even just little things like he'll pin a guy against a tree, and then the predator like tosses up his little axe, and his axe does like a spin, and there's this like whoosh sound, and but that's like with a bunch of
But
other
you
sound.
know that whoosh sound isn't there. Someone pushed that
Yeah,
whoosh sound
and
in.
it's like
Like
they
that
didn't
doesn't.
need that. Like it's just like every little bit, and then it's like then he hits him, and the ka-chunk sound is like way over the top, and then the blood squirting sound effect, and then the blood dripping on the ground sound effect. It was just like,
Well,
yeah,
and
all
this
of a
movie's been
sudden,
in production forever. Like I mentioned before, I think I'd first heard about it in 2018. So yeah, they've probably been working on it and like fine tuning it, which again, like you can fine tune your product into being a bad product at one point, I guess.
yeah, it's almost like they just overdid it. And I can't think of a single other movie where I've ever noticed like
The
sound
sound
problems
design.
more.
Were
Um,
you were you a fan of the director's other films? He did 10 Cloverfield Lane before this. I don't know if you've seen that one.
yeah, yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I
That
like
was
that.
really good. I think
Yeah,
like it's always surprising to me when like directors pop up and do these big name films and like get handed these big franchises. Because like his discography is basically 10 Cloverfield Lane, which was a I didn't realize it was a franchise, but I guess it is a franchise
yeah.
and Prey. And his next film is the next Predator movie that's coming up. But
Oh,
he has two giant franchises that he's been able to make entries
that's
in.
good for him.
Yeah, like wild. I wonder how you do that.
Yeah, I always kind of wonder where like someone's first like IMDb credit is a massive Hollywood movie. So it's like this guy was like
Just
he was
bumping
like
around somehow.
or he was like a dentist and then they're like, "Hey, do you want to make a movie? Sure. Here's your first multi-million-dollar movie." It's like, did he have any practice? Like the rest of us
Yeah,
have
learn
made
on the
short
job.
films and
Yeah,
uh,
his IMDb has 8 projects total.
mine has like 53. Where's my Hollywood movie? I've owed
I
like I
know
have
they
I've
should be
owed like
handing
12
you
of
a
them.
goddamn franchise. You have like 3 of them.
Give me I don't know what.
Where would you set the next Predator movie? Where, because the
Uh,
next one is Badlands, that's in the Old West.
yeah.
So Disney comes to you and they're like, Brandon, we're giving you the next Predator. Where are you setting the next Predator?
I I've always kind of thought about that. I always thought it'd be cool to have one on like a pirate ship. I don't know if that would
I
work.
was thinking on that same level, but I guess the one problem is depending on your story, you're limited in location because you have to stay on that pirate ship unless they dock somewhere or something.
Yeah, it would take some, some development for sure. I think that'd be cool. Obviously, like something during World War II, like would be cool. I also heard I can't remember the story, but it was some basically some sort of like British settlers. It would have might have been the same time as Prey, but they came over from England or whatever. They're trying to find somewhere to live, and basically they all just like vanished, and no one ever figured out what happened
Oh,
to
like
them.
the Donner Party or something?
It wasn't the Donner part, but it was some similar story from history where they
Interesting.
mysteriously
Yeah, so
vanished.
you'd look for like a ex existing historical mystery and add
Yeah,
some predator in
and it's
there.
like what happened is the Predator got him. Um, I think
That would be
it
really
was kind of
good.
it was kind of cool. Like the thing about Prey is like I liked that they took it to a different time because we've done the modern day with machine guns enough, and so it's like okay, that was
And
good,
then
but
we
now
went to their world. So like now I do like that they're going through time because, and I think I may have mentioned this in the previous episode, but I like the idea that like the predator has always been around since caveman times and they just keep coming back to like this is the hunting ground. And
yeah,
so I like that they're taking that and like being like, all right, well, let's just because there's so many interesting, especially Predator Badlands. I'm excited for that because there's so many interesting scenarios that you can find in the Old West, and then you add a predator onto that.
yeah, yeah. It's like how do you fight the Predator if you don't have firearms, basically? It'd just be a lot harder. And it's like, I mean, by the Old West, they had firearms, but it was more primitive. But it was just like how would this time and culture deal with this threat? Um, and that's why I kind of like the more like the old well in our world the older Predator movies, which took place further in the future. By that time, we had the technology to quickly pick up the predators, like their approach, and we also had the ability to fight them because we just have more modern technology, whereas back then they didn't. So it kind of they're honestly like you could make a million predator stories in every part of Earth at any point in history. We could have Genghis Khan versus the
Versus
Predator.
the predator, that'd be so cool.
Just anything. Um, you know, ancient Rome versus Predator. I mean, like there's tons of
I kind of liked when you said
stories.
World War II. I'd like to see like in my head, I like imagining like World War One in like deep Africa, where like the World War One is raging, and then the predator shows up and just starts picking people off. Like that'd be cool as hell. Were you aware that there's a Comanche version of Prey?
Is it is it like a different movie or is it just dubbed in that
They
language?
dubbed it over in Comanche.
Yeah, I think it might even be on the DVD. Yeah.
I've been meaning to watch that. I have it and I haven't watched it yet, but I feel like, do you feel like it would be different in Comanche or do you think it would have the same effect essentially?
I think it would have mostly the same effect. I think the experience of watching it would be different. Um, I just I think that's cool they did that. It's just I don't speak that language, so
No, that's totally
it
fair.
would just be like even watching the subtitles. I might be one of the few people in the world that like I know you're supposed to like the watching foreign movies and they're with English subtitle. I sometimes like it when they're dubbed because that's like those like all the Asian martial arts movies and action
Yep.
movies.
Or
Part of
anime.
their
That's a big argument in anime is dub or sub, right?
Yeah, but like I think part of the charm is the crappy uh dubbing of it. It's kind of what makes them
Sometimes
good.
some of those animes have like some of the funniest dubbing. Oh man.
But
I
it
mean,
makes it better, I
I
find.
watch English movies with subtitles too, though, because like sometimes I just like having being able to read it.
Yeah. I think
But
it's
I do
kind of cool though,
understand.
because that was obviously like it's like why are they speaking English, right? They probably wouldn't have spoken it, but they kind of have to because the movie's being released to American audience. It's kind of like why in Star Wars, in Star Wars they speak English.
But I
They
do
wouldn't
like
speak
that
that
they
on an
had
enemy planet, but you know,
I do like that they had enough forethought, and maybe this is blessing and a curse because I think it what you were describing is also a symptom of that same forethought. But I do like that they had the forethought to be like, we're gonna plan to like dub this in Comanche because then you obviously have to make allowances for what you're gonna dub in, dub out, and all that. So like I like that they gave that consideration during production, but that attention to detail also led to its like you said, the sound is just too pristine.
it's even though like I haven't noticed that problem in a lot in other Hollywood movies, but it's one of those things. I even notice a bit in like modern music where it's like the technology's so good that it's not as good. Like you kind of want it to be a bit rough and dirty. It kind of makes it better when everything's too polished and too perfect. It's like I don't know.
And
I
to
just
your
don't
point,
like
I
it.
think there's a resurgence in the music community of using these old analog recording
Yeah,
techniques, equipment, because you just get a sound out of that.
it's like we don't want perfection. Like perfection,
No,
not it's like maybe if you're getting open heart surgery, yeah, I want perfection. If you're watching a movie, like I want it to be a bit rough. Like
I
I
want it
like,
to feel human. That's the
yeah,
big thing.
feel human.
I'm big into drum machines, and the big thing about drum machines that people will always complain about is there's no swing. Like when you program a pattern, that's the pattern. It happens every time like that. But if a
Yeah,
drummer plays a pattern, there's that level of swing that you have in there that you can play with in jazz and such they play with, where like you're human. You're not your timing isn't going to be perfect, and you can exploit that timing to make your what you're doing better.
yeah. It's one of those things. Like just because you can do something doesn't mean you should, and you don't have to show off with it. Like these are the effects and stuff you have in your toolbox. Like and obviously this movie overall, like it didn't abuse that kind of thing, but there's like,
No, no, no.
Michael Bay movies where it's like every second is like how much CGI and bullshit can we put in every shot, and it's just like like a brain's
Yeah,
gonna
don't blink or
explode.
you'll miss the 6,000 things that are happening on the
Yeah.
screen. I mean, and to your point, the production design on this was very sparse and very like there's not a lot of things to grab your attention on the frame. You're looking at what you're meant to be looking at.
Yeah, it was like a simpler done movie, but if you kind of like pay attention to like the sets, it's
Compared to
like
like
they look
Predator
good.
2. Compared to
Yeah,
Predator 2, everything is so blown out and cartoony and like there's like drugs and gold bars on the table and stuff.
yeah, there's just more. It's a different kind of movie, but
It
like
is.
the tribe, their teepees and stuff, like their little set. It's like, wow, that looks cool. And I'm assuming they put research into it and it's historically accurate. And then they go to like the French hunters like little camping area, and it's like you could tell they put effort into like set decking this nicely, but it's not over the top. They didn't throw everything into it. It's more sparsely done, but it makes it kind of more realistic. And that's why I noticed the
The
sound
sound.
is because it's like that's the only thing that they put too much of in, and everything else was like very sparsely but accurately done.
That makes sense. So you're going with an 8? Is that what I'm picking up? Like
I
you're
would
going
say on it, I would say 6.8.
Okay. All
Yeah,
right.
it's
All right.
there's a few other story things I wanted to bring
Yeah,
up
yeah,
that
please.
didn't quite make
Please.
sense. One was it seemed like they were trying to they had the whole like evil French hunters, who are like they
Hmm.
kind of went that angle. They had that part with all the skinned buffalo, and then the predator kind of stumbles upon it, and he's like as a fellow hunter, this disgusts me. But it doesn't make sense because the freaking predator literally skins humans and leaves their
Yeah,
arms behind. So it's like now
yeah,
they're
I
and
agree.
he's like a good guy. It's like
They
that doesn't.
did kind of add morality into the Predator where there doesn't need to be any morality.
Yeah, he does, and also like the whole thing, they kind of the whole. It's been set up in other movies where like he won't kill you if like you're unarmed because you're not a
Yep,
threat.
yep.
And in this one, the main character Naru even tells her buddy like he won't kill you if you're unarmed because my foot was in the trap and he came up and he let me go. But then friggin' 20 minutes later, there's that French guy who's like missing his leg, who's completely unarmed. And then the predator comes up and kills him. And it's like, did they
I
not?
think they were trying to put it to that like that's that same like he doesn't respect those guys and that's why he
Yeah.
thinks it's fine. But I agree, like they left more morality in there than they should have.
I just don't think that the predator, he's not from our world. He doesn't care about our
His
moral
rule, our
problems.
rules are not his rules, and like yeah, all of that. Like I agree.
Yeah, so that kind of bothered me. I did like the three like the laser thing that he had, like instead of it being the blue cannon, it
Oh
was
yeah,
like
it
the
was the
three
like
laser
triple
dots and
dot
they move
thing.
around
Yeah.
and they shoot like the little like metal bolts. although at the same time, that does bring up the question. It doesn't quite make sense. Is that like I know this is like 200-300 years ago, but the Predators still have the ability for like intergalactic space travel. So why would their technology be that much behind, right?
I mean, maybe they don't experience time in the same way. And like we're getting metaphysical at this point, but like I just took it as like they travel space and time. So like I don't know if the Predator necessarily knows that he's like old time West. He just knows he's on Earth.
That's a possibility. Yeah, yeah, it could be a possibility. Oh yeah, and there were honestly there were some cool kills in this, like when
There's some really cool kills in this.
the part where like he shoots the predator shoots the neck at that guy,
Yeah.
and then it like squishes him like over those logs. Like that was pretty cool.
That
Um,
those kinds of kills always take me back to Friday the 13th. I think that's the first time I ever saw something like that where like there was a leather belt and someone was twisting it against a tree and like they kept twisting until the leather belt snapped. Like
yeah,
those
part
types of
five.
kills were yeah, yeah. Yeah, that those types of kills where someone's against something and they just get squeezed like oh, those are nasty.
Yeah, and there were a lot of great shots in this. Like there's a part where she runs into like the French dude's camp, and it's like it's all done in like one shot where she's fighting everyone. It was like
Yeah,
wow,
the
that would have
fight
taken a
choreography for
yeah,
this
that would
was
have taken a
particular.
lot of effort to do that, and it was like yeah, that was cool. I really like the part where it might even be my favorite part in the movie. It doesn't even involve a predator. Is when she's like sinking in that bog and she's trying to like throw her like hook to drag herself out. That was pretty suspenseful. It was like it was very well
You were
done.
just kind of like who on the edge of your seats. Like I said, I do feel like in terms of from scene to scene to scene, like I felt like each scene felt like for me, I was on the edge of my seat because I was just always like, what's gonna happen? And then the next scene answered what was gonna happen, but then they introduced a new question, which then like led to the next scene.
There's some great kill. There was a lot of even just parts when the predator's killing all those guys and it's like in the foggy woods. And the predator's like up in the like jumping through the treetops and stuff. It's
With the
like
lasers, it's
yeah, like some of that was just like, wow, that was like very well done. And this most recent time I watched it, like I almost noticed the great cinematography even more, especially like kind of like the first half. It's like it's very well shot. But at the same time, it comes down to like the technical aspects of the movie is only one thing. It's like the story has to be moving, it has to be fun to watch, and it's just
true. They don't do that thing which I appreciated where like when it gets dark, suddenly the whole movie gets dark. I was able to see what was happening in the dark scenes on this film, which I appreciated in terms of cinematography. Because there's so many movies where like it gets dark and suddenly everybody's wearing black and I can't see what the hell's
yeah,
happening.
which is weird because I watched Last Voyage of the Demeter last night.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It was like, but the whole movie's so dark. It's like you can just see like a bit of a person's face, and but it,
Like you
which is
spent
funny.
so much money on production, you don't you want people to see it?
Yeah, and it's funny because I actually mentioned this to Adam last night. I remember like movies in the 70s, 80s. Like I remember when I was a kid, that was a thing people complained about movies being so dark. And then maybe it was kind of around the year 2000, maybe just because of technological advancements, that problem went away for like 20 years. But now it seems to be back. Now people are complaining about it again. It's somehow like we forgot how to light movies, but like I don't remember people complaining about dark movies in 2010. But all of a
No,
sudden
because
now, like a lot of the YouTube movie reviewers I watch, they're like, it was so fucking dark, you can't see what's happening.
for me,
It's like,
I'm
why is
always
this
going
a
to put
thing?
the culprit as Batman Begins, or specifically The Dark Knight. The Dark Knight started that trend of like things being dark to the point where you can't see it. And I think The Dark Knight did it well, but a lot of imitators have just screwed it up and made it look worse.
Yeah, it just like yeah, like you said, if you put all this work into filming it, like don't you want and you could cheat it, right? You
Yep.
could have like I know it's nighttime, light it so I could see, and I'll use my imagination to imagine it as night. Like you
Or
don't
I'm
have to make it
sure all of
black.
this is like coloring put in after the fact. Color it so it's lighter. Like I don't need to feel the darkness encroaching on me. I want to see what's happening in the
Yeah.
movie.
I remember in The Witch, that movie.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I watched like the commentary and they were saying like, the first part where Tomlinson or whatever the girl's name is, like first talks to the devil goat. and then you could like see a guy walking behind her. He's supposed to be like the devil. And they said like they actually set decked that room and it looked great, but for whatever reason, it ended up being so dark you can't see anything except
Ah,
the face and a bit of the guy. And it's like, well, then why didn't you just like
why did you do all
crank
this
up the
work?
friggin' lights or something? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've started noticing it now where like, yeah, there's a lot of horror movies where you, and part of me thinks it's like they're trying to like hide their shitty effects or something.
Yeah. It's a tool that can be used sometimes, and it's like a trend too. Like these things go in waves, I think.
But yeah, it's kind of annoying, and it's I think once it starts becoming like pop culture where YouTube movie reviewers are bringing it up, like why is it so dark?
Then
That
things start to change,
yeah,
and then
you gotta
eventually it'll overcorrect in the other way, where things will be
yeah.
like extra bright, and we'll be just like my eyes are bleeding, and then it'll like correct back.
And that's why I like the movie Midsummer. I freaking love that movie because like every scene is in the bright sun. It's just like there's no darkness and like
And I like, honestly, if you make a horror movie specifically set entirely in the daytime, I respect you more because that takes more effort. You have to pay more attention to your frame and like actually tell a good story.
yeah, and trying to make something scarier during the bright sun is a little bit more difficult.
Hard, very hard.
But I think they're just like, well, we'll just make it so dark, and then we don't got to spend so much on the effects because we'll just cheat it by having quick cuts and it's all dark.
Exactly.
So you can piece together what's happening, but you can't actually see it. But it's like I don't want to be tricked into what
Into
I'm
watching a
watching. I just want to
movie.
be able to
No, and
see.
I feel like this movie did a good job of like towing that line.
Yeah, Prey was overall. I think there was one part where I know it was like kind of a bit dark, but yeah, I'm not going to hold that against it. And overall, and a lot of it happened in the day or in the
Yep.
fog. So overall, like it was a very well done movie. And honestly, all these criticisms I have, like, where it's not like you know, it's not enough to ruin the movie for me. It's still for a franchise that has some real piece of shit movies involved in it. This
Like
is like
the
a breath
Adrian
of fresh
Brody one. I still can't get the taste of the Adrian Brody one out of my mouth.
air. It's I'm just glad it's like, okay, maybe we're back on track. We'll have to see how Badlands goes, but if it's the same team making it, it's like I guess we can hope for
I
the
think
best.
it's the same director for sure, at the very least.
Yeah. So and then after that, well, who knows? Because I remember it's kind of especially after The Predator came out, there's a lot of things in the media about like this should basically kill the franchise. Like
Yep, yep.
stop making them, it's over with, and fans are like, don't make any more. And then they make another one, and it's like, oh, it's pretty damn good. So like, hopefully, this is the start of some
You're dead
research.
until you're alive again.
Yeah, cool. All right, well, I think we should wrap it up there. What's your final score? What would you give it on a scale of one
I'm
to
gonna
10?
give it a strong 8 to a light 9. That's what I'm
Ah,
gonna give.
nice. Cool. I'm sticking with that 6.7. So or
Love
six
it.
point eight. Sorry. All right. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time.